All right, welcome to Jack Dodson'S Racing Insider News this week. We got the pole sitter in here, Jack.
The big cheese from down at Daytona.
I mean, I thought he had perma-smile on when he came in.
That's right. Absolutely. Still enjoying it. You know, we did a big thing for a lot of small people in this area. You know, we're proud of it.
And you should be. But we'll get back to you. Let's get our marketing partners right. They make the race car go. It helps our show. Right?
Absolutely.
So let's thank our partners here.
At the bottom.
All right. So we got RDS Performance there. New partner did his $10,000 check clear.
It didn't clear yet.
He gave us an IOU.
Yeah, he got a big one. Yeah.
Man, we're getting all kinds of new partners. Mosquito Joe. If you use Jack's name or my name or the racetrack's name, you get 50% off on your first month's service. To check it out, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep going. So pretty cool. Shows presented by Mean Dean Automotive with Grier and Associates. You got to thank Sammy Gated Graphics. He's done some stuff for us. He did the checks for the winners for the our sponsorship this year when Miles was Seamless Cutter. Southampton Motor Speedway. I think Pepsi Mountain Dew is Jack's and I's favorite drink. Hunter Waltrip with Waltrip Pressure Washing Solutions. If you need your house washed or driveway pressure washed, hit Hunter up. Or if you need some AMSOIL, Turn 2 Synthetics. I wonder why it's Turn 2, maybe not Turn 4.
I don't have a clue there.
Or Victory Lane, maybe. But anyway, all right, I think Safety Clean, Performance Plus Motor Oil. I think Bill, Terry, and Chuck Langley Speedway for allowing us to do the show here. We greatly appreciate it. Bonders Brothers Distillery. You know, if Jack had some product, you know, we could have a pole shot going.
I started to grab one at home and bring it.
We definitely should have had something.
Right? I mean,
I get a designated driver, so we're good.
The man of the hour. MPM Marketing, Tanya McAllister. I think Black Acid Racing Apparel, them donating the fire suits to our two winners this year and for next year for 2025 deal. We got Slinger Speed Company. I think Tim Brown over at Slinger Speed if you're looking for a local t-shirt company. Factory Canopies and Fluid Logic. VA 811, call before you dig. I think Papa John's for providing pizza every week. You know, we got some Eddie's barbecue this week. Can't think Fast Eddie.
Yeah, Fast Eddie.
I mean, not only can he make some good barbecue, he and his sauce, his famous sauce,
Coleslaw.
Coleslaw was good tonight too. Don't forget that.
I don't know. I'm not a vegetable guy. I'm gonna take your word for it on that one. But Eddie, he makes some good barbecue sauce too, and he can build you a house. I mean, what more? He can build you outside stuff and then make some barbecue that you can enjoy it with. GAC, Great American Company. I think those guys. And with that, what's the news this week, Jack? I mean, it's kind of interesting. You ain't got no. Is your gloves SFI approved?
No, they're not. No.
Well, the piece was not SFI approved. We worked in the gray area there, so
yeah,
you know, come on. I think it was very.
I was wondering. Oh yeah, but it was funny because I kept wondering like, why didn't they just go get another set of gloves, right? And then I seen the video. I'm like, oh
yeah.
I knew they were good. Me and Jack and we were texting about it. And I'm like, there's got to be more to the story here. They don't make you go to the rear and do a pass through when the green comes out just for a glove.
No, they definitely found something in the winter.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, it cost him $10,000 today. So
did they find him?
They find him $10,000.
Well, it cost Mr. Penske to integrate it. It didn't cost him anything.
His gloves are going to be displayed this coming week at Las Vegas.
Well, I think everybody watched the race.
I know, but I'm just saying what they said.
But I love that though. That now that when they confiscate something, they're gonna put it out on display like they did back in the day. Remember when you go to Daytona and they all had all that shit laid out? This is what people tried to get through. I'm like, oh, don't try that. I'd like to know what that wind piece on the roof on the
Stewart Haas cars.
Yeah, what that.
Well, that also cost them.
Did that get?
Yeah,
well, that was-
35,
35 driver
points.
points and 35 owner points.
I mean, that's a pretty.
And that's we're second race of the season. That's not going to be. And neither one of
That
them
was
cars
big.
have been
Are
very.
they minus points?
They might be. I hadn't go back and look, but it may be. So anyway, the NASCAR Cup Series race this week. How about Daniel Suarez and that finish?
That was pretty cool.
Man,
Let
that
me tell
was
you the
cool
truth.
as
Wasn't that
hell.
unbelievable?
That was a good race to stay up for to watch. It was good to finally have side by side, three wide coming to the finish line. So
And even Kyle Busch didn't even complain. I was
No.
waiting for him to get out of the car and say something.
Did you see the thing I sent you? What his wife said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been telling you for years he needed another couple inches.
Yeah,
I
all that.
thought it was hilarious.
So anyway, Suarez got the win. Blaney and Kyle Busch were right there. I mean, they were close, neck and neck, right there together.
I mean, that's got to be the closest. This has got to be the closest in history. Because
no, third closest.
Was it really?
Yes, third closest. In the Xfinity race, Austin Hill got win number 2 already. Chandler Smith was second, and Donna Mullins' favorite person, the SVG, finished third. In the trucks, Kyle Busch got the win. Ty Majeski finished second, and Corey Heim finished third. Also, they had a suspension in the Xfinity series. Jason Miller, the crew chief over at SS Greenlight, got suspended. He's
Because there was a little scuffle.
yeah, he by what they said, for striking another.
oh, was it
Yeah.
after the race or?
Yeah, it was after the race.
Yeah.
He struck the guy and they suspended him.
I missed that one.
He's got 2 races he's been suspended for. So
It was probably worth it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just gotta do it, huh?
Yeah, get your frustration out, and that guy it was his day.
And
All
sometimes
right,
you
well-
gotta get your point across too.
Right.
all right, we got Big Willie here. I've got the poll down there. I tell you what, I know you were excited. I know Donna was excited, but I was pretty excited in my house too.
It was pretty cool. You had a lot of people texting us and, congratulating us. A little team out of Fredericksburg. We've been, I don't want to say we were the underdog going in there because we've always had a good super speedway program. We've had 2 or 3 top 5s, top 10s, almost won it. So we've always been there. We've just always played the conservative side. This year we decided to go down there. We had a really good car to test. Bringing Kevin Reed on full time at Daytona, that was the key to finding speed. I mean, you think we had somebody else in the car with a different crew chief last year, and it was a second and a half off. The only thing they did is put me in the car and change some heights around. The thing was right there at the pole. So proud of that. Can't thank everybody enough. Daryl Faree has been the backbone behind this team, getting these cars ready, helping me. He's awesome. He runs here at Langley every week, very dedicated to Bill's track and program, and he's been a big part of what we're doing too.
That's cool. I mean, and Peyton's going to be with us next week on the show.
Yep. Peyton's pretty cool. He's growing up. He's down here in the shipyard welding every day, and it's pretty good to see him become a young man, and he's doing good. Hopefully, he can contend for a championship here this year.
Now, when you get a big pole like that and everything, and then Dinah punches both your eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand that.
It is, it's pretty rough. I should have worn my shirt for, the unfortunate domestic violence that she displayed on me. So, but no, it's one of those things. We had that hard wreck,
That was
we just missed it. We got in the smoke and I couldn't see, and got knocked out for a little bit. And
that was a pretty rough lick there. I mean,
Yep.
I was watching it. It was pretty tough.
I don't measure. I remember seeing the smoke, and then I remember looking up, and they're starting to unbuckle me out of the car. So it was definitely a couple seconds I missed.
A couple
Wow,
seconds. Maybe it'll take more than that.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you go down to Daytona and you are competitive.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing about it was, I was looking at, I think you did the TikTok or whatever it was about being in the shop that you're in,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
garage
Yeah.
and everything.
Absolutely. It's pretty cool that, my mom and dad let me use their garage, and I got a packed full of race cars, but we work hard out of the garage, and that's where that car was built last year, was in that garage. We put the new Mustang body on it last year, and we had some success with it. We just needed to work on it another year, and we did it, the test, and We had, Ryan Kloom was there, and he tested that car for me because I'm not comfortable in that car per se because I'm a big guy and that's an old car. So we had some kids in there, but when we left, we knew that car had to go back, whether it was me driving or somebody else.
That's a pretty good deal. And of course, I see that Davey went down to the test with y'all.
Yep.
Down to Florida. And again, he didn't get the ride. So I'm gonna let him have a hard time.
Well, you got to, but we're pretty excited. You have Papa John's Pizza right here. Davey got that big sponsor this year for Dominion Raceway all year, so he's gonna try to also contend for championship Dominion.
Cool.
Yeah, the car looks good too. I mean, I like the way the car is designed and stuff. It looks good.
So he's
shout out Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews did the wrap on that car.
Does a great job.
Awesome job. He does the same thing, trying to help racers out. He does a great job.
Yeah,
that's the second wrap I think Davey's got done for him. So he does a good job.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good kid.
I was talking to my wife during the race the other night. I told her, I said, Willie, he drives the truck down there.
He does all the damn driving.
Races the car and everything, and comes out of a garage basically.
Yep.
I said, hey, that's everybody's dream.
It is, and one of the things me and Dinah talked about, ARCA right now is probably, I would call it the mid-90s NASCAR. When Jeff Gordon was starting coming around, when you started having the Ray Emerhams working and things like that, probably mid-90s. That's where ARCA is right now, where you can still work with a couple guys out of a garage. As long as you got a level surface and a good concept on how to find speed in a car, I think you can still do it. And that's what's great about the ARCA series. We had 50-some cars trying to qualify for 40 spots this year.
Yeah,
that was the biggest
cool.
field since, I think, 2016, something like that.
2015. We had, I think we set 12 home.
So, I mean, it is still, if you can afford to go buy a motor, and this is an old Cup car, this thing set on the pole in 2006. So it's
Robert Yates racing with
right.
Dale Jarrett on him.
It's not a spring chicken. So it's pretty cool to see that car, back out front and running good. So we're going to take it back, and I think we can have good success again next year.
Todd Parrott was the crew chief on that car originally, and Todd was there that weekend.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Oh, that was
to
cool.
go talk to Todd about, tell Todd that one of his cars he built 15 years ago or 20 years ago
He's
was
still around.
Yeah.
Did he have any insight? He's like,
well, he knew exactly which car it was. When we walked up in the Hillenberg's trailer and said, hey, 65, we just set on the pole. He's like, that was one of the good cars. That was one of the TIG welded. Back in the day, used to TIG weld all those cars together. Mm-hmm. So it's, one of the best. And we'll bring it back. It's not killed, but it's hurt. So,
but ain't most of those chassis old Cup cars, right? I mean,
well, not really.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's a dying breed. I would say you have probably 5 or 10 of them that were old Cup cars. Most of them are now either the Gen 6 car, that is the bigger chassis.
Okay.
You get a little bit of a weight break for running that. So, they're starting to phase out the old Cup cars, but they're still letting them be competitive, and we can still run good with them.
I mean, I can't imagine what was going through your mind when you sat on the pole there. I mean, I love the reaction y'all too. I could just see the emotion in your face. I mean, when you're beating all the other teams that are factory backed, right? I mean,
absolutely.
They probably have a pull down rig.
Oh, they have it all. Well, but let's not split hairs too much. So Venturini helps us. The guys at Gibbs help us. So we still have support from the big teams. Okay. I don't want to say it's all on our own and we're sitting up on that high horse. It takes everybody in that garage area to get a car that's fast. The biggest thing is we had Kevin Reed there to help put all the pieces together this year. And that's what the key was. And he understands it, right? So, well, I mean, the man sat on the pole 7 times there at Daytona. So, right. And his son won with Gustine this year. So, you look at it that way, it was a Reed sweep. That family knows what they're doing, and for sure. And there's a reason all the Venturini cars and my car will run up front this year.
Okay.
So it's a lot of friends help us get there.
And I think the engine package that they have, the Ilmore, right? Ain't y'all?
Absolutely. So the Ilmore we run in truck and in ARCA. It's one of the best packages because they're within, they say a percent or 2. Most of the time they're very, very close. The biggest thing is you get great service with an Ilmore. Mm-hmm. You get frustrated with the local engine builders because they never get your stuff done on time. But Ilmore, you put it in there, they tell you exactly when it's going to come back, and it's sitting there ready for you as soon as you can write that check.
Right, and they keep
Right in the check. We got one in Hawk right now, so yeah.
because I mean, and do they keep track of the mileage?
Absolutely.
That's
So
what I thought.
today I got the call from Ilmore. They told me, you know, I must have tried to start it when I was knocked out or something like that, because it did run for a second without oil pressure. But they said that short of a time, they're not worried about it. So they look at every lap, every parameter during that
So
weekend.
you ain't giving them the motor; they just called and
Yep.
told you that on their own.
Yeah, because they download everything after the
Okay.
race. Yep. So it's everything gets downloaded, and then it took them a week to get through all the data from the whole race. But they called us today and just said, "Hey, the motor's probably pretty good. You know, don't worry about it." And the good thing is, even though that was a hard hit, it didn't break the motor, didn't break the valve housing. So that motor should be good to go back in the car next year.
Yeah, and that makes an equalizer, right? Because I mean, at one time, you had to be with a big team to have the big motor, or you weren't going to compete. I mean, you just there's no. I don't care how much win advantage you can get, you can't beat good old horsepower.
Absolutely.
And I think we were down at Schrader's shop, and when they first, I think it was the first or second year they implemented the Ilmore, and he was telling us how, or the crew chief, who was
Donnie, right?
Yeah,
Donnie Rich.
Yeah.
Donnie.
Was telling us, you know, how it's so many miles, they let you know, you take it, freshen it up, you get it back. I mean, it's a pretty good program, and it's an equalizer for everybody, so that you can go down there and you feel like you have just as good a shot as anybody else.
Absolutely. And that's what the first year we put that motor in, it equalized us, and we finished 8th that year, you know, at Daytona. And that's where, you know, you just got to be on their program. You got to have a good car, and you got to work on it, you know.
Did you have a plan when the race started to work? Did you have dedicated people to work with, or did people come to you and say, "Hey"?
I talked with Jake Finch. The kid's a good kid. You know, they have more money than God, but that kid came down there.
He's a little crazy too.
He is. He came down there to talk to me. We got together and said, "Hey, I'm gonna
He's a good
lead
kid,
as
though.
many laps as I can," and he was good with that. He said he wasn't gonna do anything stupid, and you know, and then
I didn't count that out.
right. And we got back there in a little bit of traffic. You know, we got turned that one time, and you know,
Yeah, I don't know how the hell you saved the one. Was that the one you're talking about?
We got turned twice.
Ooh.
we got wrecked early in the back straightaway when that first or second or third caution we got turned. We saved it there.
Yeah, I
Didn't
didn't see
do
that
anything.
one.
Yeah.
Not many people did, and then we had the big save in the middle of the race. So
yeah, you were in what, in the middle of 3 and 4?
Yep,
Yeah.
and I just, you know,
I was
you,
like,
you don't touch the brake pedal. You hold it wide open and don't turn it right up the hill. You know, once that thing starts swinging back around, you just crank it back left, because you'd rather spin down instead of center punching the wall up the hill.
Now, is that, I'm suspecting, but I'm sure that when new people come to Daytona, there's probably some type of seminar or some guys like you, or they probably reiterate that, right?
And that's where I learned it from. Is I was always told, just do not turn it right. You know, because what happens is, think about it. You load at 32 degrees banking and you're pointed right at the fence.
I agree, but it's hard.
It is.
It's hard not to, like, you know.
Well, I did that just to catch it, you know, and I caught it on the banking for a while and just held the gas. And then once I knew I was on the flat,
lift at all.
I didn't lift. No, you don't lift. You
It
just
didn't look like you did, but
you just keep it wide open. I mean, anytime you spin at these big tracks, unless you know you're going to just hit no matter what, just hold wide open and steer out of it best you can.
And it was funny. I won't say funny, but seeing all these guys in the Cup race letting go, or even in letting go of the wheel, that's got to be hard too.
I've never been one to let go of the wheel.
Yeah.
Because we still have
Well, you
steering
saw the
boxes.
Well,
You know,
right. Yeah, most of that stuff's gonna be in. It ain't like the Cup car with the steering rack, and it's a much
you
harder.
know, the steering shaft has been around the top of the control arm, around the headers. It's been in a big U, so it definitely took a heck of a beating.
But a lot of these kids that come up through late model and are always in a great car don't have the car control that someone who was in a really terrible road course car for a lot of years are going to have. Like, if you've never drove junk, I think it becomes harder. I actually think coming through cars that aren't so great gives them more car control.
I agree with you, because even Kevin Harvick had said that about Keelan. Like, he doesn't want. He's like, yeah, we can go and go to a team and they get the best tricked up stuff and sit on the pole and lead every lap. That's not how you learn how to drive. You got to take a 5th place car and figure out how you can win with it.
Yep, absolutely.
Or figure out how to go through traffic.
And
right?
that's how a lot of these great drivers are. You know, you watch, Peyton Sellers. You know, he'll start at the back of the field and he'll methodically drive through there. And at the end, the fenders are still on the car.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys like that.
There are,
me, I ain't got the patience. I'm like, oh, we got to get to the front, But
You know, and you watch some guys that started the back and they just pretty much pull in on lap 2 because they know they ain't got a chance, you know. So it takes talent to drive these cars.
But you can do that when you have a fast car too.
Well, I'm still learning myself. I'm not the best of the best. I wish I was. I wish I could be a Peyton Sellers talent wise, but you know what?
Don't we all?
I'm having fun, and that's all that matters.
Oh yeah, no, you're living a dream, right?
I am.
You know, you're doing it in the backyard way,
Yep.
and I think that gives you a lot of praise. But you do it right? You don't go just to show up and just to be there. You really put your best foot forward.
Absolutely, and
it shows. And people like you. I mean, they probably like her. But
I don't know. There's a lot of people that hate her too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hurt feelings in both tracks. So, but we're good with that. You know, I am happy to be somebody's, person they don't like on the track some days.
Well,
That's the
you're doing
driving
something right,
force,
right?
you know.
It's okay. You can be the villain in someone's story and still be a good person.
Oh,
we are the
Uh-huh.
villain in quite a few stories, and we're okay with that.
Yeah.
So- What's your plan for the rest of the year? I know you got some other things going on too. So.
We do. Unfortunately, you know, my wife has some health issues coming up.
Right.
You know, we got to deal with that. And we're going to focus on that. I'm going to run Elko, and I think Brian Pendleton and Landon, they're going to run Bristol again this year. And that's kind of where we're at right now. If something else happens, who knows? But the good thing is, you know, we're going to have Colin Lozo. He's going to run all the races at Dominion late model. So that's pretty cool. We're going to have our first full season late model with him.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do that. We're going to
So
dabble
you'll
that.
be busy.
Yeah, we'll be busy, but you know, and then we're going to run some Virginia race for a little bit here and there. So we're hopefully, you know, keep ourselves busy.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, you don't have to set yourself in so many directions. You can just have fun with it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. You know, in
But
business,
somebody else is paying the bill, right?
I wish. The problem is I got to work 60 hours or 80 hours a week to pay for most of this stuff.
well, you get Donna to throw some money at you.
No, she costs me money. You should know that.
He forgets both those super speedway cars are mine. I
Uh,
bought them.
There's a
well, you know,
car owner.
yeah, she calls herself that. She comes with some decals on that thing, and she looks like she worked 80 hours.
Put the decals on and
That's right.
then you owe her.
That's right.
And for people out there, you don't have any employees, right?
No.
So far as the race
Not
team is
as,
concerned.
as far as
It's
the
all
race
volunteer
team, it
and-
is. And now, like I said, the person that I lean on most is Daryl Faree. You know, as in he was there just as much as I was putting this car together this year, and that's why we were proud to go down there and we put a ton of laps on it at the test, and you know we went back and we only did 3 laps in practice, and we were third practice, and then we went out and did 3 laps in qualifying. And
Did you have that feel when you were qualifying? I think I got.
oh
that.
yeah, absolutely. I come off a 4 because I felt it down there in the 3 when they pushed me down the back straightaway, and I come across the radio. I said, "This is a heater right here," and that was right there at the top of the board. So we were pounding our chest before we went off the track.
When did you go out and qualify?
We were the 3rd or 4th group of 6.
Okay.
So we had 2 groups we had to sit around and wait for. You know,
was that the longest time of your life?
it was.
I think it was a long for her too.
Well, especially the NASCAR Regional has a phenomenal group. Tad, Adam, Brandon, Susan, and I'm forgetting one person, but Susan was standing there with her cell phone videoing us, waiting for the reaction. So it's even worse if you're waiting and she's, you know, like, yeah. It was
And what sucks is we've been on the top of the board before, and then you get knocked down to 5th when that last group rolls out or something like that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good cars behind us still, so we were very excited when it finally finished up and the yellow flag came out for that last group.
I bet you were. I was excited too. I was sitting there. Oh man, this is great. You're going to get the.
I mean, it's a great story.
It is.
I mean, it truly is, and we couldn't be more proud of
Thank
you. Or both of you, because I mean, it takes everybody.
It's everybody, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's everybody that's worked on this thing that's had their hand in
The
it.
stickers you put on look really good.
The check you wrote made the difference.
Hey, but we got CorvetteParts.net. They're a pretty big sponsor, and you know they come back every Daytona to help us. So that's we were actually on the fence of whether or not we were actually going to go to the race. and then Jeff Oakley came on board, helped us out.
Okay.
Zenith Aviation, and then Timmy Brand, Snap-on Tools. Those all came together right there and helped us, made sure we were right there at the race. So without them the last week, we wouldn't have gone.
Well, that's cool that were able to get it there and get it and have the success that you did.
Yeah.
So the car is being rebuilt now, huh?
Absolutely. I got to get motivation, and it's on jack stands in the garage, dripping on the floor right now, but we'll get it cut apart in the next week or two and get it down south and get a front clip put on it.
So who does the clip?
That one's going to be what is it? Excel, which was Hopkins.
Okay.
They do a lot of the older cars, things like that. So we'll send it down there and have them put a front clip on it, and then Timmy PVW, he hangs all our bodies. So,
And as the chassis it's not a standard. So you can, if you want a different roll center, you
well,
can.
it is, you can move it around, but a super speedway car, even though they have a spec body, is a super speedway car on how it's hung on the chassis. You know, there's a lot
about
of
the suspension.
the
like the
snouts are
front snout?
different. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little bit lower of a snout. There's a lot of little things too with the arrow on the bottom of the snout, how you do the pans and how you do all the cross members, things like
You
that.
can run both styles. So
Yeah.
I did a count of the 50 cars that showed up. 25 were super speedway cars, 25 were not. So 25 were purpose-built super speedway cars. The other 25 were a short track car, a 1.5-mile car that was retrofitted with our style bodies. You can make that work. It's just
You're still
you're
going to be
still
a
going to be way better off to
half
have
second off,
purpose-built
something like
cars.
that.
Wow.
But you were talking about Kevin Reed earlier. Kevin, he's been around for a while. We've had him on the show several times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and he knows what he's doing.
Very smart man. Kevin Reed Golf Carts, KRM Golf
Yes.
Carts down there.
Yeah.
in
You need a
Warrensville.
golf cart?
He is
Man.
he is the man to get a golf cart from. That man that's working 70, 80 hours a week just selling golf carts, and he decided to take a step back from racing. It just kind of burned him out. There's only so many things you can do, and he's just about done it all. But he likes coming racing with us because it's the family atmosphere. There's pressure on him, but it isn't the same corporate pressure.
Yeah.
So he really enjoyed it, and I mean, it was cool to see him as happy as he was.
For as long as he's been in the sport and how much he's won, I looked up and he was on top of our holler crying like a baby.
Because I was wondering, because I didn't see anything
Yeah.
of
He
him.
was very emotional, and his wife and grandson were with us, so it was a good time.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yep.
To everything.
And this year we went down with a very small group of people, very small crew because of money. So it was kind of back to our roots where we took 5 or 6 or 7 of us out to dinner, and that was it. The past 4 or 5 years, we would have 20 or 30 people down there with us, and you'd have to feed them all, and it was running around, and it was herding monkeys. Unfortunately, it was like that. And this year it was really relaxed and laid back. And even though we tore up a car and I made a mistake, we had a great weekend.
Nothing can be sitting
nothing.
on the pole.
Nothing can beat that sitting on the pole Friday. I mean, that was.
I think sitting on the pole next year would be even better.
Yeah, next year I want the trophy. So every year, the year that he finished second, on the way down, I said I really want one of the neck collars. So he got me a neck collar. And then the latest thing was I wanted one of the flags. So he got me the flag.
Oh, they
So
give
now
you
I'm up
a
the
flag for the
Yep,
pole.
we got a flag for the pole,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
neck collar, and then we're gonna get duplicates made to be able to give to all our sponsors and things like that. So
Oh, that's cool.
that'll be pretty cool to
yeah,
hand out.
absolutely.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So Jack, why don't you write a check to Willie so you can be on the car next year?
There you go.
If I had one to write,
right under the bus.
if I had one to write, I would, but I'd be scared.
You might hit him in the face if you toss it.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna get in the truck and ride with it next
There you
year.
go. That's all we need. We need some moral support.
You better get plenty of food.
Oh, we do. We don't get these bodies by starving.
Neither do we. We got our own chef here this week.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
really so congratulations.
Thank you.
You had a great Daytona. I know you're on top of the world.
Now, did you do a bunch of interviews prior to the race starting?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing is a lot of people, it takes me a little bit extra to get into a car. Well, when you're on the pole, you're the last one across the stage, right? So then you got to walk all the way down to the front of the starting grid. So I only had 5 minutes to get in the car. Usually I had to take 10 or 15 to get in there and take my time. And so we were hustling pretty good to get me down there. And then we had to do TV interviews. That was pretty cool. The first time I ever got to do that. And, we got to be the show for once.
Shout out Heather DeBow.
Yep.
Our
She's
pit
awesome.
road reporter Heather is phenomenal, and she goes out of her way to make sure that small teams like us get the same coverage as a big team. She's awesome.
That is cool. Now, did you have? I'm going to assume this one will be John Menard, but I could be wrong. Is it one of those the coolest moment of people to come over to you after the poll?
That John Menard actually came down there early because he knew our race was going off early to meet me. We're friends with Charlie Menard and the family a little bit, and then to have John Menard tell NASCAR to bring him over to us. So that was cool. That was another.
Did your wife get googly eyed? I mean, she had said how Menards is the big thing where
It
she's
is.
from.
It is. Menards is the big thing in the Midwest, and they have over 380 some stores. So for them to, even us being a blip on the radar, and being able to support the series, and then being able to get the series out there and get it into different places for revenue and markets is great.
And I think people sometimes forget what Menards has done for our sport in general.
What I was just getting
the ARCA series, if you look at our contingencies, I'd say half of them are shelf space at Menards. Like John told us, ARCA is his favorite series. He said he could be in the Cup garage. He'd rather be at the ARCA garage. So we're just very thankful that our series has a marketing partner that loves it that much. And just in general, Menards has just been such a great force in racing.
They had for years, from IndyCar to Cup cars, and
you remember seeing John Menard with Tony Stewart at the Brickyard,
right?
That was pretty cool. That's a childhood memory of mine. So you get that same guy to come find you. That's pretty cool,
right? And I couldn't be, or it couldn't have been more fitting for Paul to win at Indy,
right?
At the places and for his dad. I mean, that just was a cool outcome. You couldn't write a story better. Much like y'all said.
I went to Menards in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and I had to go in and get something. I had to get a hat or something that said Menards. I had to have one.
And the best part is so we go to Menards when we go home to visit my family, and we had bought a couple T-shirts, like just Menards shirts. So Willie was in a Menards shirt and John Menard.
He couldn't stock up no better.
Just a Menards shirt.
No, not
at all. Did he say anything about it?
No, he didn't. But
was very happy
the race
with us.
director actually pulled me aside, thanked me for being in a Menards shirt. Because it's all about branding. And it is important to make sure we represent that brand.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think like some of these kids that are coming along, you have to do every little bit. And I mean, I forget who I was talking to the other day, and we were talking about it. I'm like, you have to get a return on investment, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have a social media presence. Yeah. You have to talk about people's. That's part of the sport. It's not like it was in the 90s. If you had a car, somebody gave you some money and put their name, and you didn't have to do anything.
Right. And what's
today
cool,
is different.
And what's cool for me is TikTok has really opened up the door of I can take my phone, do a 20, 30-second clip in the garage in front of my race car, and I'm looking at the matrix, and I'm getting to 50,000, 60,000 people, that are seeing that video. So then, if we had sponsors or wanted to showcase some things, then I go do that, and it is some return on investment. Mm-hmm. Is it as much as if I was a Cup driver out front leading a race? No, but we're small market area, so we can definitely reach 100,000 people with TikTok. So it's been great. And then Dinah keeps up on the Facebook and the Twitter.
Yeah, she does a great job with that.
Yep.
And y'all, both of you come across, as a normal person, like somebody would say, a relatable person, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I think that's the duck lady.
Duck lady. Chicken lady now too.
That's right. But I think that is like super important, and people don't understand. It's like, you don't have to, make some video or do something crazy. Just be yourself.
Yeah. And that's what I try to tell people is just tell us what you're doing, how you're doing it, and show us, and that's what I try to do in our garage is, hey, this is who we are. This is what we built. And then we were able to parlay that into a poll at Daytona, and everybody got to kind of hang out with us during the year on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
And then how many sponsors or engagements have you gotten through that? I mean, I'd
we
imagine
get a lot.
Y'all do pretty well.
It's definitely done well for us. And you know, even, and it doesn't even have to always be the driver to do it. At Bristol, I had 2 fans stop me to take selfies at Bristol.
Is that right?
Because of my TikTok. So the
means you're
driver
doing
should be
something
doing
right.
them too, but if you pick one person on your team that's charismatic and have them be the team TikToker, like it doesn't always have to be the driver. It can just be someone. And we forget, and listen, I do it too. I love doing hype videos, and that's important, but they can see the car on the track any day of the week. That's not the problem. What they can't see is the hauler being loaded, is what we're doing in the garage. They can't see that. And that is the key to these videos, is showing these fans things that they cannot see when they turn on the TV, turn on Flow, turn on, you know, FS1. They can't see that there. That's what you want to be putting on your social media for like TikTok or Reels.
Yeah. I mean, between that and then I know for me or even Jack and a lot of these guys here, you don't realize we knew all those things, right?
Right.
The
We take
fans
it for
don't.
granted.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Right.
So other people out there in the stands, they don't understand or they don't know, right? And that's how they learn. Or, you know, when we walk and get something from the stands and some kids see us and, you know, we don't think much about it because we're every week. We're just, you know, we're just getting something to eat. We put on their pants just like everybody else does. But to them, to that kid or whatever, that's a big deal. And you have to kind of engage those things.
Well, and that's what we're trying to teach too, right? Is let's say you're Riley Music and you're walking up to the concession stand, the kid comes over to you. You got to be ready, unfortunately, to put a smile on. You got to be able to greet him. You got to give him, let's say, 10 seconds of your time, sign an autograph. You know, he does a good job. And me and Dinah try to teach people that, hey, it doesn't matter if you're having a bad day. You got to put a smile on. Make sure you greet that person, you know, so that person talks good about you. Because everybody knows, you know, bad word travels fast, right?
Oh, that's right.
So that if we can at least, you know, teach the younger generation coming up, hey, give that 2 seconds, 3 seconds, smile, wave, something like that. It helps grow the sport. It helps us get more people engaged in motor racing.
100%.
Well, Willie, we appreciate you coming all the way down here and being here with us, man. It's really cool.
Absolutely. I love coming down. I wanted to make sure, you know, 2-hour ride, it's well worth it, you know, to come down and hang out on the show for a little while. And
we really appreciate you doing that. I mean, we know that's a.
I mean, how many little raggedy shows has their own barbecue guy come
absolutely
in just for you?
Well, what's cool too is I want to get back. You know, you guys give us time when we're saying we're going to go down to Daytona and do something last year, right?
Yeah.
This year we got to go down and do something and come back and talk about it. So it's pretty cool to be here to not brag about what we're doing, but thank you guys for letting us be on the show and be part of this and celebrate a little bit.
100%. You're not bragging.
No.
But you wouldn't have been. I'd have my trophy up here on the table if it was me.
Absolutely.
Well, he slept with his when he got the one guy.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. But he will too.
No, you won't.
I get all the things. They're mine.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Willie. Thanks for being with us.
Yep.
And you might want to hang out and eat some more barbecue.
Probably will, and then we'll get on the road probably in a little while and get some sleep and back to work tomorrow.
Don't work too hard.
Unfortunately, I got to pay for a race car now. So.
Well, if you got some extra stickers, Dinah, put it on there for you.
Well, you know,
she's car.
I got these black eyes because I got my butt beat by her. So.
Well, we appreciate it, Willie. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it tonight.
Thank
It
you.
was really cool. Thank you. All right, let's get as soon as Buck finishes hugging on the women in there. Buck, you want to come in here now, or you?
Come on, Buck.
Thank you very much.
I know I saw you down there and give you a couple of fist bumps.
That's right.
What's up, man?
Hanging in there, brother. How you doing?
Good, man.
He done got his orange shoes on and everything.
Yeah.
He ready.
I don't need to see the shoes.
He's ready to go.
So what's been going on, Buck?
Anything and everything. Just trying to get life done, playing music, working, everything, trying to take care of the household. And got a interesting text message from Jeff Burton to give him a call, and I thought I was being catfished.
Is that how it started?
Yeah, I literally opened up what is it, X now instead of Twitter.
Okay.
And I said I had a message, so I hit it, and it said Jeb's name, and it said had a phone number, give me a call, and I was like, man, I don't know how do you trust this stuff nowadays online.
Yeah.
So I called it, and it was him, and he's like, hey man, me and Dad think about throwing a race and putting some stuff together, sort of like you did with the Denny stuff. Would you be interested in helping out? I said, definitely. I've always been a fan of awards anyway, and that obviously made me a fan of Jeb and really the Burton family,
Right.
all the way across the board.
Yeah, I mean, they're good people.
Oh, they're just amazing all the way in and out. Harrison, I talked to him a bunch at Daytona too, and got to see Jeff for a few moments in Daytona. And Ward and I grew up a Ward Burton fan, like I said. Anyway, I had tons of stuff at the house, all the collectibles and the diecast cars. And my daughter was born in 2002. He won the 2002 Daytona 500, so that was an automatic connection for me anyway, and on the emotional side. So yeah, now we have the Orange Crush 200, and that's Crush with a K, that is going to be held at Orange County Speedway in Rougemont, North Carolina, and it is being brought to you by Rogers Heating and Cooling, which that's their demographic, so that's why we're holding it at that facility. And everybody down there, Terry and everybody, they've been great to work with thus far. And Shane Laws will be our race director, just like he's been for all the short track showdowns.
I'm sorry. No, that's a good thing. That's pretty cool.
I mean, it's got to feel pretty cool that you've got this reputation of doing well with putting, promoting and putting this thing together. For them to call you, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine the getting a Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it today, message and then the phone call and it's like, wow, I mean, that means you're doing something right, or you have done something.
Well,
right.
I felt like we had from race one with the late model stock cars with the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown in 2010. We ran 2 limited late model races at Southside Speedway. And then when I wanted to do that, I got together with Shane, and he was my race director at that event.
Okay.
And he was the race coordinator. I was race coordinator. He's race director. We did literally the same thing we still do, which is bring most of the officiating staff in the tech shed from Martinsville.
Okay.
So everything these drivers are used to, when you pick the upper echelon of everybody in late model and you try to build an invite system race, when they walk in and see those officials, they're immediately comfortable.
Right.
They already know them. They know exactly the kind of the level they're setting for par for what's going to happen at this event now.
Yeah.
And I knew that coming right off because, Clay Campbell and everybody at Martinsville over the years, that's, people can put all the price tags they want on any late model stock car event. Martinsville is the pinnacle. It is the Super Bowl for late model stock car racing. You
1,000%
want to win that race since 1984 at that racetrack.
Yeah, that's right.
And now that they've made sure they kept the tradition alive with giving the clock and everything like that. It's always been that Super Bowl. And so when the Short Track Showdown was built after race one, everybody wanted a piece of it. And we were doing it by invitation on that first event in 2010 for late model stock cars. And we had 50 parking spots in the infield of Southside to use, and we used 48 of them for a 30-car field. So we ended up having to have 2 consolation races. We had all kinds of craziness. You saw a car catch on fire. You saw a car flip over. You saw everything. And post-race, Lynn Carroll came up and asked where I was and shook my hand and told me to my face, that is the best late model stock car race I've ever seen.
So it's really
for people out there that don't know, the Short Track Showdown you came up with. That was your deal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Me and Denny sitting on 2 5-gallon buckets looking at his first late model stock car because that was the first car I ever lettered myself.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And designed it, lettered it, and we were sitting there. I said, what you need to do is, I'm pretty sure I knew then. I was like, you're going to get signed somewhere, somehow down the line. Well, you need to come back and we hold a race at Southside Speedway and do it for charity. And you bring cup drivers back with you and race against the guys at Southside. And so the first couple of races, it was just they did a race before the foundation was started.
Yeah.
And he and Curtis Markham came and ran that race. Chris Hopkins won that race.
Okay.
But it couldn't be considered a Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown because the actual foundation had not been started. 08's the first year we can actually claim it as a Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. And Kyle Busch won 08 and 09 in limited late model competition out there. So that was against all the regular drivers at Southside Speedway. And Denny and Kyle, and I can't remember if Tony ran the second one or not, but I know he came for the one on 2010. We had a total of 9 celebrities show up for that event. I mean, Marcus Ambrose was there.
I remember
Joey
that.
Logano was there.
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Stewart was there. Clay Campbell even had a car out there. I mean,
Oh,
it was,
yeah.
you
I
know,
think Harvick ran.
yeah,
didn't
Harvick
Clint?
ran.
Yep.
Boyer ran.
No, Clint didn't run.
No?
I remember Clint being
No,
there.
he
I
didn't do
thought
that one.
Clint ran too.
But the pit area was crazy after a while. I mean, you're walking around and there's Shannon Spake, there's Jamie Little, there, you know, it's like all these, you know, the people that work behind the scenes of everything as well as on camera for the networks were there. Other drivers were showing up, you know, and it was pretty amazing to watch it all culminate that way. And Bobby Labonte ran it
Oh, yeah.
because I did a pre-race.
Did he get tore up, I think? Didn't Bobby get tore up? But like,
Yeah, he went out to qualify and they forgot to hook the track bar up and he backed it up into the wall.
I know it was something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the terminology came from Bobby Creech. Roof flaps deployed, rear clip destroyed. So they got it back on pit road and fixed it. He was able to race though. The one of the coolest parts of the entire event to me, racing wise, was Marcos Ambrose. The car went south in it. He was in Rodney Cook's second car, and Rodney climbed out and gave him his car for that night so he could run.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, but during interviews, it was really cool. I did a press junket out in a tent. And I asked Bobby Labonte, I said, what's your favorite part about, you know, coming to this small track here on just outside of Richmond, Virginia? He goes, being able to race against Bugs Harefield tonight. I was like, wow, that's cool. You know?
Dude, Bugs Harefield is a character. I love, I mean, I love Bugs, right? And I still remember he is. There's no telling what will come out of his mouth. But I love when he ran Martinsville and he was running second. They had the halfway break. Yeah. And he went over and talked to him, and he's like, "Well, how you think the race is going to go?" He said, "Oh, I was just riding." Yeah. He's I'm going after the second half. I'm just riding.
Let's go ahead. We got Buck here. Let's go ahead and get Brian in with us. Let Brian come on. Let Brian come into this.
What's up, Brian?
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Good, man.
Speak to Scott too. You said gentlemen. Speak to Scott.
Never a shortage of laughs on the show.
How's everything going with you?
I'm good. I see you got my buddy Buck Roos there. Always good to see Buck.
Hello, my brother.
Yeah, you know, one of the things, you know, and we're going to talk more about Buck, what he's got going on, but one of the things I wanted to get both of y'all together with, how in the world, we've been discussing this, I think, off and on for the last few weeks. We had Bill on here and some other people on here, and it always seems to go to Brian White because of what he does here at Langley Speedway and how he goes about what he does. How in the world do you and Buck work together where you know where to stop talking and Buck knows where to start talking?
I follow Buck's lead. Buck's the man. I think, you know, from night one, I think back in May of 2000 and maybe 19. Our first night, we just clicked right away. It was like a team that just gelled, and he's a pro. So it's easy to work with people who do this often. And you know, when Buck starts talking, I stop. When I start talking, he stops. So we just kind of, it just flows. And I don't really know how to describe it. Buck may be able to describe it better than me.
It's according to broadcast, they call it inflections. So if you see something going on the racetrack,
for real.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I was like, I ain't never heard this word.
Inflection of your voice, your projection, and exactly how you're trying to enunciate the words. So if somebody's on the track racing, let's say take Danny and Greg. See Danny Edwards working on the inside, Greg Edwards working to his outside right now. They work through turn number 3 and they head down the front stretch, and that lets you know. I built up the excitement. I dropped it off. Now it's time for you to pick up.
Now, Jack, we're going to start working on that.
Yeah, right.
So, and once you work together for about 3 or 4 races, you really do start to feel like he and Adam do a great job together.
Him and Adam are really.
I mean, and they pick up just like we did, you know. And I love watching and listening when I can. You know, I play shows now on Friday and Saturday nights with music. So on Sunday, I'm catching up on what happened at Langley, watching the races and loving, you know, listening and watching the entire time.
You know, with Brian, I admire you for a lot of things, but one thing I do admire is your preparation before a race. What you do. I looked at that book one time when I was in there with you and saw all the stuff you had in it. I mean, I didn't read it. I mean, I just saw what you had in it.
It wasn't a picture book, Jack.
No, it wasn't a picture book. That let me out real fast. So I didn't have to worry about that one. But I mean, it's amazing the notes you do. When do you start getting all that together? Do you do that every week?
It is. I mean, and Buck can tell you, we can't just show up on Saturday afternoon and turn the mic on and start talking. It just doesn't work that way. So, throughout the week, I devote time. I'm sure Buck and I know Adam does as well. You just devote time and you look at, okay, what are the upcoming divisions that we have for this weekend? And you start developing storylines. You look at how they performed their last event, how they performed over their last season. I'm a stats guy, so I'm constantly pulling stats, looking at that, trying to create storylines that way. Because really, our job, Buck's job, my job, Adam's job is to tell the story and to help, try to educate the race fans and others that are watching the broadcast as to what they're seeing. And doing that, it takes preparation and time. So for me, I like handheld notes. I like to put it on the computer, but then I want to print it and I want to hold it and be able to look at it and add to it as the night progresses. So it's a lot of what we do is more time preparing for the race. Before I even get to the racetrack, I've already got all the notes. They're already outlined. And as a matter of fact, with Flow Racing, working with the team there, it's getting those notes ahead of time. So Justin Kern and I, Justin, the producer, can look at it and also add to it, take away. But more importantly, to be able to, capture the car that we're talking about at the right moment. So it's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on to get ready for the race weekend well before we even get to the track on Saturday.
But what's amazing is you have 2 racetracks you work. So how do you do the same preparation for the other track too?
Yeah. Dixieland Speedway on Friday nights in Elizabeth City. So yeah, same deal. It's prepping for the week ahead. Now we don't have Flow Racing, but we do from race to race have a Big Sports TV. A gentleman with Big Sports TV's out at the racetrack, and he's live streaming the events too. So yeah, same prep. You need to know who's there, what they're doing, and how they've been performing, and so you can tell the race fans that are there watching or those at home watching what they're seeing.
The Flow Racing coming on board the last few years. I don't know how many years it's been, but them coming on board has really been something in your participation with Flow. I have heard a lot of people at a lot of other places talk about Brian does such a great job on Flow Racing. It's got to be cool to be able to have those accolades to say, hey, I'm getting myself out there and people are taking notice of me. I think it's great for you.
Jack, I don't have any more cash on me. You got to stop.
I got you.
No, seriously, I appreciate the kind words, Jack. I always tell folks, I'm just a big race fan. I love the sport. I've ate up with it since I was a kid, 5 years old. My aunt and uncle and my dad and mom, we were at the racetrack every Friday night, sometimes Saturday nights. And I just dreamed about, driving a race car one day. And before I could get to the age of driving a race car, I started holding a microphone and announcing bike races. And the next thing you know, that's pretty much what I've done, and I fell in love with it. But I think, being a race fan truly helps that. It's what I love to do.
Now, has either one of y'all had somebody y'all looked up to give you some advice on announcing?
Oh, yes.
And who was it, and what did they tell you?
Yeah, I mean, just everybody, MRN, PRN, the local announcers, everybody from Eddie Anderson that announced here in the 70s to Joe Kelly, who announced all over the place for me. They were my heroes anyway. And then, little notes from Joe Moore for so many years and decades, actually, for me. He's always been a strong point, and everybody at MRN, Alex and Postman and all those guys and some of the girls as well, Kimmy and different ones, they've been great to talk to about different things that are happening now. And we both started at Virginia Motor Speedway, so that's where we started now, Virginia Raceway back. I started when Mr. Harris still owned it. Just off a whim one night, he threw the microphone at me and told me I was the announcer at age 14. So that's how I started. But he started on dirt too, I think. Wasn't that right, Brian?
That's right. Yeah, the Dixieland Speedway.
There you go.
So, Brian, who influenced you along the way?
Well, I think there's multiple people, but I think back to when I was a kid listening to Gary Mickey. He was our announcer at Dixieland Speedway, my home track in North Carolina. And just listening to what he did and how he kept us entertained and really helped paint that picture of what we were witnessing. And I think for me, it was him, and there was a combination of several people. I think of Lenny Baticki. He's my mentor and a good friend, and I admire what he does, and certainly, pick his brain from time to time. And, I picked Buck Roosh right there between you guys. I picked his brain multiple times. I'm always impressed with him. I call him the racing encyclopedia. He's got all the stats. They're all up here. And
Yeah.
I admire that.
It's funny you say Lenny, and Lenny, I think he, obviously it shows that he loves the short track stuff, because he can't stay home very much because he's gone all the time, right? And I still laugh to this day. The last time he was here calling the modified race, when he was talking about door dashing down the backstretch with the McDonald's, right? I mean, who comes up with stuff like that, right?
That's Lenny.
He has the zingers, that's for sure. And I'll catch myself jotting them down. I'm like, I'm going to reuse that, and I'm going to steal that.
I know, right? I mean, but
He had Scott and I falling out the floor. He said that. He knew what he'd done.
yeah. But I forgot what he had told us afterwards. I don't remember, but it was, he's like, my job's, kind of add excitement to it, and y'all got to figure it out after that. But that's, to heighten it up, that's what we do. That's my job,
They tell him bring color into it is what they call it. Bring color into it. Let's brighten it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But
that was a cool moment, getting to call that modified race with him last year. So certainly a great time.
all right, now when you come back to Langley, you got to sign the chair. Lenny signed the chair, and Robbie Parker signed the chair. I don't know why, but he did anyway.
But who else is there? There's a couple people on there.
And we'll get Brian to sign a chair. And I've already told Bill Mullis when he was up here the last time, when I leave here, that chair goes with me. So he's already said, okay, that's cool. So,
the boss has approved it.
Yeah, right.
but Brian, I went in there with you a few times when you call races, and I've sat in there with you and we talked and whatever. It amazes me how you got the book, but yet a lot of it comes out of here. You're clicking it off, and I know you're not turning them pages left and right like you do. You click it off, and you've got an amazing way of doing it. And you'll say something, you'll turn and look at me, and I'm about 10 seconds behind you because I ain't figured out what you said yet.
He's from radio. He's got a 10-second delay.
It's amazing. It's amazing to me.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's just years of practice, and let's face it. I mean, I screw it up, I botch it all the time, but you just keep moving, right? You keep going. I used to joke with people before the streaming service got into play. I said the best gig to announce was racing, because half the time they couldn't hear you, and then all of a sudden now we got streaming, and now you're on all the time. So I had to step up my game.
I know for both of you guys. I mean, I've watched both of you. And to me, because I'm a little ADD anyway, how y'all keep up with everything. Both of you got your book. I see Buck down there walking on pit road. He's got his little book, and he's like, such and such, and this, and I'm like, how the hell does he know all this stuff, So, it just amazes me what you guys can.
That's where we're blessed in what we get to do, being able to come to the track, because people call us a very integral part, that's for sure, because it gets that announcing. You get to find out who the drivers are, who their sponsors are, what's going on the track you're calling it. But all we really do is talk about what these drivers and performers are doing in these cars. That's where we get our part of the thrill out of it, because people come up to us, thanks for talking about me last week, man. That was really nice what you said about me. But it's like, I look at them and go, I was talking about you because you were doing amazing things on that racetrack. I'm just lucky enough to be able to talk about what you're doing. You're doing them, so thank you. So that's one of the other sides to this that a lot of people miss about what we do. Yeah, we're blessed definitely to be able to do what we do, but being double blessed to be here to do it.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, I was talking to Bill Mullis about the flow race and stuff, you guys are getting a lot of attention from other places, and you got so much attention that you got to go to Richmond and do it at Richmond. I thought that was amazing. You got to do that.
Which we have a question here. Scott Clark wants to know, Brian, are you going to be PA announcer at Richmond Raceway again this year?
Yeah, more to come. I guess the jury's still out.
There you go. Yeah, that's a cool gig. I did it for 9 years, and then they had a little bit of a separation go on where I think MRN took over the tower for a little while, and then I went out there for the truck race, and I'm walking in, and I'm like, that's Brian. I'm like, sweet. I start texting him. I'm like, hey, dude, is that you? He's like, yeah, man.
No, it's really cool. I mean, it's really good that you're up there doing that, and and it's an honor for me and Scott to sit up here with you and watch you do what you do with Buck down on the ground when he's down there and what he does, and of course Adam Wellbrock. We can't leave him out of it.
Yeah.
He does an outstanding job. He's moving faster than I've ever. He'll take off and be here, and I look up and be back over here again. So
I'm old.
Yeah, he's young. I tell you, having Buck, because Buck is like an encyclopedia to all these old races or paint schemes.
I'm old.
I mean, some of the things he'll come up with, like such and such as paint scheme in 1992 races Dover, and I'm like, how the hell does he know that or remember that?
Watching it and remembering it.
I remember some of it, but I can't stay with it all the time like y'all guys do. So, matter of fact, before y'all got here tonight, I was watching a race from Southampton Speedway, the All-American 200.
Oh, wow.
And that was really cool to see some of the things that, the people were there. Dave C was there.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to see that and watch some of the people. And I knew I was there. I mean, I was at that race.
Yeah.
So, really cool. Well, Brian, thank you for being with us, man. I know you got stuff going on, busy. I know you're a busy person. I mean, to be as smart as you are, you got to be busy somewhere.
I don't have no more cash. So the money and I'll pay you back.
Every time I turn around, you got something going on. So, I mean, I saw you did something for your work the other night and did this. You got a lot going on. I don't know how you keep up with everything, but you deserve all the accolades that we can give you. That's for sure.
I appreciate it, and thank you guys again for what you do. It's an honor to be on the show. It's an honor to help hold the microphone. I mean, people come to the racetrack to see the drivers and teams, and our jobs again just to help tell that story. And I'm just honored to be a small part of it.
Well, I come up here to watch you, and I'm sometimes I have to put up with Shane Laws, but it's the way it is. But anyway,
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, that's right. You got to take the good with the bad. Brian, thank you, man. We appreciate it, and hope we'll see you soon, man.
Hey, look forward to seeing you. Opening night's coming up soon. We got the Day of Destruction right around the corner, so it's going to be a great 2024 season in Hampton.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, much love to you, brother, and
Hey,
all
likewise.
to the family.
Take care,
too,
guys.
All right, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
See you, Brad.
See ya.
All right, give us some more on this Orange Crush thing. Tell
Yeah,
us.
Okay,
that's Shane Law says, let's get our Orange Crush on.
There you go. Well, the big thing about it is it's all really to benefit the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation.
I saw that.
Safety and everything that they do, and conservation as well. You can check them out at twbwf.org. Their website's out there, and I even made the list. Look, I know y'all just bragging about me about the brain, but I made my own little list here, having some fun. Already slated to compete. Pardon me. Peyton Sellers, Camden Gully, Deke McCaskill, Bobby McCarty, Terry Deese, who is the defending champion at Orange County, Chase Burrow, Buddy Isles Jr., Logan Clark, Caden Honeycutt, who had a solid run at Atlanta in the Truck Series, Cade Brown, Brent Cruz, who's driving for Kevin Harvick Incorporated now, Landon Huffman, Trevor Ward, who won Martinsville last year, Katie Henninger, the rookie of the year from the Super Late Models in the Cars Tour, Mike Looney, and Barry Begley is returning to late models.
I know, I can't wait for
I
that.
know, I'm telling you.
And Jeb Burton, Jeremy Mayfield, and back in a late model stock car, Ward Burton. We still have drivers to announce. As a matter of fact, one's coming up, and it's going to be a really cool announcement. I really have always followed this guy's career locally as well as nationally, so it's going to be a cool announcement when they do it. And you can check out all their social media, Jeb Burton on everything, Ward Burton and the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation on all the social media platforms. We're announcing steadily on there, and you can also go to Orange Crush with a K, KRUSH, orangecrushrace.com to keep up with it on the web as well. So, I mean, lots of good
How
stuff
did you
going
get
on.
Barry to come back out? I mean, when's the last time he's raced?
Well, somebody reached out to him for us. I think it might have been Jeb that reached out and said, "Hey, man, would you like to come do this?" Because if you go out to the racetrack right now at Orange County Speedway, a couple of the signs, they had some bad weather, so a couple of signs had blown down. But when you look up in the grandstands, there's Wayne Patterson's name, and we lost him a few years ago.
Right.
Maurice Hill's name, we just lost him a couple of years ago. And there's Barry. And I'm like, man, can we get Barry?
I mean,
Because, I mean, you talk about battles. Those three names at Orange County Speedway, South Boston Speedway,
100%.
Martinsville,
Yeah.
the dog fights that they had for wins at those three facilities alone
Yep.
are of legend. You hear about stuff about people being followed home afterwards and all kinds of crazy stuff. But, Ward won one of his first Busch race wins at Orange County Speedway when the Busch Series used to run there, which is now the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
He teased with that trophy about the race getting ready to come up. We're trying to work out having the actual Daytona 500 trophy, that trophy, and one of Jeb's Talladega trophies for fans to take pictures with.
Oh, okay, that would be
Because
cool.
how many times do you get a chance to
No.
take a picture with a Harley J-Roll trophy?
That's
No.
right.
One of the winners ever in your lifetime as a race fan.
That's right.
One actually sitting there. So, and we're going to, we're trying to work that out. Other celebrities are talking about coming out and being part of our pre-race autograph session we're going to do.
Oh, that's cool.
So Ward's going to be there. We're going to try to do, 1 to 2 things so we can get everybody through because the place seats 6,500 people.
Right.
So we're hoping to sell it out, much less the crowd that's going to be in the infield. Same thing with the short track showdown. Hard card holders for the top 3 series. If you come through the back gate, all you got to do is sign and you get in. You get your wristband or your pit pass. So we're working that out. There are no just general pit passes for sale to the general public. Everybody's going to have to be on a team or something like that to go into pits. That's why the pre-race autograph session is so important. And we're doing something even more cool. We're bringing everybody on the fan side of everything at tables for it, sort of like they do with the Truck Series and Cars Tour now. Instead of making everybody go on the front stretch, then we got to worry about cleaning up afterwards, clearing everybody out.
Okay.
Everybody will still be on the fan side of everything, so it'll make the race night go off even more smooth.
Right.
And it's 25 maximum cars invited. All 25 will start.
Oh, okay, cool.
$750 to start, 15 grand to win, 12 grand for second.
Wow. See, now I love when they spread the money around a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
so the
I mean,
money is nicely, evenly distributed, and that's something Jeb did. He went through and he made sure he wanted to make it where it wasn't 15,000 to win and 5,000 for second.
Right.
He wanted to make sure you felt like you were coming to actually run for money, and that 750 once it hit, it stayed to the bottom of the roster. So you're going to make back because it's a 4-tire race. It's not going to be a 6-tire race. So
Okay.
just about 3/4 of your set of tire money is coming back to you no matter what if you come and start.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Mason said Barry Bagley versus Ronnie Cook.
Oh,
Used to
yes.
be the
Oh,
edge of the seat. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Barry was the man when I first kind of got into racing. And
Just amazing.
I think one time he showed up here and everybody was like, I don't think he qualified well. And they're like, he's going to run through these cars like a mouse on Swiss cheese.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, Philip Morris took a long time to actually get into victory lane here.
Yeah.
And then once he finally broke through, then all of a sudden he won, at will almost. It was interesting to watch that for so many years with some of these famous guys. And we've reached out to a few others and they're just, they're retired. They do not want to do it, but they said they'll probably come out, and be there for it. So it's
going to talk like a Phil Warren.
that'd be amazing.
It goes right along with the Barry Bagley and a bunch of those names that I was getting like, man, look at the names on there. I love that.
Yeah, we have a few that were big names in late model stock car competition. They just either are already dedicated to something specific at that time or their schedule couldn't allow it to happen. At one point, the announcement has come out for a couple of drivers that unfortunately have run into conflicts of scheduling or with the cars that they were supposed to have. But and one big one, if Jared Fryer's watching, hurried healing buddy broke his leg and he had to have surgery on it. And so he was one of the drivers that was coming up past Hampton Heat winter. So we were looking really forward to having him as well. And, you know, where he's had the surgery and all, he's got a long healing process to deal with. So once again, hurried healings for Jared. But yeah, we're trying to make sure that we keep, you know, the echelon good. And we're trying to also make it a nice, smooth, even field for everyone that we can do. And some of these drivers have reached out to us before we even had a chance to invite them. And like I said, there's probably about, we had actually almost filled up the entire roster until we had like 3 drivers now. So we're reaching out to some of the ones who said they'd like to come and trying to fill that up. And Jeb's trying to help with that. Ward's trying to help with that, and everybody inside the event. So we're
So
right
is it
now
just locked into those?
it's going to be that 25 drivers, and that is it. No,
Okay.
You know, if you show up with your race car in the truck, you've wasted gas, but enjoy the show. You know,
Is there going to be a support division running?
Yeah. No, it will be the one,
Just- okay.
that 200 lap event, and we're going to try to build it. It's going to be a 1-day event. Fan gates, I think, are looking to open around 1 p.m. So you'll catch the second half of practice. You'll catch all of qualifying. You'll catch the driver meet and greet and everything. And then the race will happen at, I think, 7 p.m. So we're trying to get everybody. It's a Thursday night. It's
Right.
March 28th. Yeah, might want to get that out there. It's Thursday, March 28th. And so we're trying to do it an easy evening. So that way we don't keep kids out too late. So the parents that want to bring the kids to
Right.
meet and greet and everything, they're still going to be able to enjoy the entire race and be able to get out of there in time.
Right.
You know, so it,
I think it's going to be a great deal.
yeah, and that's leading right into the Richmond race weekend. So you
Right.
can actually come see our race at Orange County Speedway on Thursday night, catch the modified race at Richmond on Friday night, and you got the Xfinity Cup Series on, and then the following weekend, then we got Martinsville as well. So
That's right. We had the 2
we're gonna-
back-to-back
I didn't
weekends.
realize
we're
that.
going to roll out of Rosemont, North Carolina, and just roll everybody right into Virginia. It's going to be amazing.
I
Yeah.
think it will be. It'll be fun too. So, good luck to you. I hope everything works out
Thank
really
you, my
good.
friend.
And have a good time out there doing that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Me and Jack are definitely going to try our best to get out there for the event because I think it.
Well, you are?
Yes, I'm
Well,
if I can get my boss to let me off.
There you go. Let me
Okay.
talk to him tonight. Like Blake Shelton says, he high-fived himself in the mirror and told himself good night one evening.
That's Scott right there, buddy, all the way around. Well, we appreciate everybody being with us tonight. That's our show for tonight. We'll be back next week. Please like and share our show. Our show next week, we're going to have Ray Roman. He drives the Pro 6 car, 21 Pro 6 car.
Oh,
Peyton Faree is going to be with us.
okay.
And Jennifer Crabtree and Josh Crabtree are going to be here with
The
us.
4 and 4. Depending on which series you want to
That's right.
There you go.
So that'll be fun to have them with us next week. And please go check out Buck's thing with the Orange Crush
Mhm.
for the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation.
With a K.
That's- yeah, with a K.
Orange Crush with a K.
So please check that out. And
And we're not talking about the drink that you get at Waterman's that everybody likes, the
That's
Orange
right.
Crush.
yeah.
It's famous. This is a race.
So anyway, good night, Shane. It was nice seeing you. Nice talking to you. Anyway, all right. Well, that's our show. We appreciate Buck being here. We appreciate Brian White coming on with us, and we really appreciate Willie for driving all the way down
Yeah.
here from Fredericksburg to come here for
and a barbecue.
and oh yeah, and Eddie with the barbecue.
Fast Eddie's barbecue.
Yeah, I mean that's that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there because we got Papa John sitting.
Conflict of interest here,
I'm gonna leave that alone. Anyway, thank you for being with us, and we'll talk to you. Hi, Donnie. Good to see you. We'll be with you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Oops.